Hello and welcome to my knitting podcast. My name is Irma and you can find me on YouTube, Ravelry and Instagram as Wolwerkjes. Welcome to my channel, welcome to everybody, people who have watched before, everyone new, you're all welcome here. And this is a place where I talk about all the things I make. They're mostly knitting related. And I love sharing them with you every 2 weeks. So there is some issue with the lighting over here. It's all fine, but when I move too far backwards I get like light across my face. So when that happens I'm sorry. I'll try to keep them to the minimum, those moments. But yeah, just a warning up front. So I am here to talk about my knitting, and I always start with what I am wearing. I am not wearing any handmade knitwear this week, unfortunately. I'm wearing my black pants, but I can't show you here because when I go too much backwards I can't stand anymore. And my chair is like a turning one, so I don't dare to stand up on it. But you can watch previous episodes to see that. Not wearing any knitwear today. When I go outside I will, I think. It's really nice. Yesterday it was nice with only a really warm big scarf around me. So maybe that's still the case this afternoon. We will see. I hope so. It's so nice when the sun is out. It's too bad we didn't had any cold weather this year, because I prefer like spring type, autumn like weather, but it's nice when it gets really cold in the winter because I appreciate the warmth a bit more afterwards. And I do like it when it's freezing, and when I was younger we were able to skate outside on the ice, but that has been quite some time ago. I think my oldest son had one winter when we were able to go on the ice for 1 or 2 days. Yeah, it has not happened this year, unfortunately. But that's enough about weather stuff. I'm not wearing knitwear, I can't show you. So I will go to finished objects. I have 2 completely finished objects. And I have, well, one of them was already finished, but I changed it up a bit. And I have a half finished object. So let's see what we have here. I'm just going to put it on. I finished a other hat and I'm very happy with this one. It's knit out of a sock yarn, which is a hand-dyed sock yarn. I can't remember the name. It was a leftover of another project and I didn't have the ball band anymore, so I can share that. But it's like a blue sock yarn. I think it's no nylon, so not really a sock yarn, like a fingering weight merino, I think it is. And a mohair. And the mohair is mohair. Where are you from? Okay, mohair. It's a greenish color. I think it's their pine color, but I'm not really sure. And it's by Filcolana, and it's really nice and soft to work with. It gives a really, I don't know if you can see that, but it has a really big halo around it. There's a lot of fluff. And that is what mohair does, so that's really nice. The pattern was really fun to knit. It's also fun that it is just a few rows and then it's just simple stockinette, so that's really nice. Except of course the crown decreasing, but that's always the case. Not always the case on the head. Sometimes you just tie them together, the stitches, but this has crown decreases. So that's really nice. And there's no way to go around it. It has a pom-pom. It's a faux fur pom-pom and I made it myself. So that's really nice. I made it with how you call these things? You can tie it up so I can take it off when I want to wash my head. And yeah, it's really fluffy and fun, and it makes the head, I think, because however the pattern is really nice and the color is really nice. I felt like wearing it without the pom-pom, I felt like an old lady. So, and with pom-pom it's perfectly okay. I'm going to make pom-poms for in the shop. For now, for people who don't know, I sell things I make like pom-poms and stitch markers and yarn on my website, wolwerkjes.com, and there will be pom-poms in there as well. So that's really nice, and it also explains why I said I made a change to one of my other projects, because here it is. This was the other head I did and I wasn't sure about it, but with pom-pom I think it's perfectly fine. So this makes me a comfort for the pom-poms. I usually wasn't a pom-pom person, but I will put pom-poms on all my heads now. There's no head going out of this house without a pom-pom. It's not true, but I really love them. And also this one is made by myself and also tied up at the inside. And what is nice, I'm 100% sure it's faux fur because I made them into pom-poms myself, and it's really easy to see the difference when you're crafting with it. Once they're on your head, I can understand that people cannot always see the difference. Especially with this one, it's made to look like fur, but it really isn't. So that's really nice, and I'm wearing these both constantly. I really love them. So, finished objects. Always nice to show finished objects. When we're on the topic of things in the shop, as I said, I will put these ones in, but I have a pretty big announcement to make, because I will be vending at Breidagen, which is the Dutch knitting festival, and there are 2 of them coming up. But I will be vending at the one on the 1st and 2nd of May. They're in Amsterdam, and you can watch on breidagen.nl. They announce vendors and workshops they will have. So I hope to see you there. That would be really nice. So something in between, and I think it was quite a big deal. It will be my first place I am vending, and I'm really excited about it. So, side note, let me see. I was showing you my finished object. I do have a half finished object, and I had to pick it up from the ground. It could have been a complete finished bear, but yeah, I made a woodland loafer, I think the pattern is called, and it was quite fun to knit. It is a really bulky yarn weight I used. I made the smallest size they have because I have quite small feet, And yeah, they're a little bit out of shape when you when you're not wearing them. I can try to put them on so I can show you a little bit better. I don't know how that's gonna work. Okay, so here it is. Little bit awkward position, but you can see it's shaped better, and they're really well fitting on the feet, so that's really nice. And yeah, I still have to make the other one. It's not hard. It's not no, it's definitely not hard. You do have to know how to do short rows, or teach yourself how to do short rows with this pattern. That's also an option, of course. I do think that heavier weight yarns are a little bit harder to knit. It's harder on your hands, but you have less stitches to knit, so it still goes pretty fast. So yeah, I just have to make myself knit the other one, because then I can wear them, and they're really comfortable, so I do want to wear them. And yeah, I don't know why I just haven't. No explanation needed. I just made one and then picked up something else. They're really fun. It's a paid for pattern, but I think it's worth it. I wouldn't have, when you look at, sometimes you look at pictures of patterns and you think, I can kind of see how that's made, and I don't know. Most of the times I do buy the pattern, but sometimes you're like, oh, but that's so easy, I can make something up that looks quite the same. With this one, I did have a thought on how it was made, but I couldn't have figured it out exactly. Like, it's a lot of short rows and picking up stitches. There's no finishing afterwards, except sewing in the starting and tail and the finishing. So where you begin your knitting and where you end your knitting, those tails have to be woven in, but that's the only finishing it needs. So it's quite a nice pattern to be working with. And I think they have 3 sizes, but you can vary in size not only by knitting different amount of stitches, but I think you can make quite a size difference with just changing your needle size or your type of yarn. So that's really really fun. I will be making another one of these so I can wear them. Those were all the finished things, so I will go to works in progress. So I just ran off the stairs up and down. Works in progress. I have a new work in progress to show you. I'm a little bit out of breath. It's a new sock, and I really like how this yarn is working out. It's a Regia yarn designed by Arne and Carlos. Mountains and Fjords design line. The 4-ply yarn. It's really nice to work with this kind of yarn. I think it's always sturdy but not harsh on your hands, and you know you will get a nice sock to wear. I will look for the color 07033. And I do know that Arne and Carlos do name their colors, but Regia only has color numbers on their ball bands, so you can look up the name of the color by searching for this color code, but I think that's a little bit too much of a I don't want to put time in that. Either it has a number or a name, and I don't want to search for one or the other. So I will just have to do with the name, the number. Yeah, it's really fun to knit with, but I hear returning viewers say but you should have worked on another sock. Yes, I should have, and yes, I did. This was purely for having some mindless knitting. My Claire Slade is also a mindless pattern at the moment, but the needles I need for those are on another project, so that didn't get any love the past 2 weeks, unfortunately. But I really wanted to have mindless knitting, so I casted this on, and I'm really happy that I did. It's really fun to work on it. As I said, I did knit on my other sock, the one that I should have knit on. I started the second of my Adeline socks, which is a pattern by Melanie from the Braid and Tinker podcast. It's some kind of cable over here and something with eyelets that makes like a mock cable, and that pattern is worked up the leg and on the top of the foot. I have a finished sock over here. I forgot my sock blockers. I'm not going downstairs again. Next time I will take my sock blockers. You can see you work it on the front of the feet and around the leg. And there is a heel flap and gusset construction in this sock. And I tested this pattern for her, and I finished one sock and I just didn't cast on the second, and now I did it. Twisted, no, just 1 by 1 rib, not twisted, just 1 by 1 rib, and then this pattern, which has a really nice effect. I really like how it looks. It's not mindless knitting for me, and it has not to do with the pattern repeat. I think when you put it down and you pick it up again, it's kind of hard to see where you were, so I need to make a note. I should make a note of that when I put it down, but it's more like the stitches you have to do, they're not difficult, but it's not something I can do while watching a Scandinavian series or something. When I can understand the language, it's kind of okay, but I can't look at the screen, so I can't read subtitles or watch a movie that really needs the visuals of what's happening all the time. Then I can't knit on this. So it's really nice, and it gives a really beautiful sock, but it's not what I always use my sock knitting for, and I think that's why it took me quite a while to cast it on again, because I usually use my sock knitting for TV knitting, and this has to be sock knitting without TV, and that's completely fine, but I think that's why it took me a little bit longer to cast it on, and also why I started the other sock, I think. But now I've started it, I'm really enjoying it again, and I can't wait to finish these and wear these. I think those are the most fancy socks I've ever made, so they deserved a little sparkle yarn. It's Lana Grossa Late Night, I say by heart. I think it is. And it has a sparkle in the same color as the yarn is, so it's really a subtle sparkle, which is really nice. So those are 2 projects I have been working on, and I have another project to show you, because my 3mm needles are still not on my Claire Slade, so they are still on my husband's sweater, and I showed you last time that I finished the body part, and I have started both the sleeves. They really look like 2 at a time socks at this moment. I'm going to knit those sleeves 2 at a time until I I hope I can do that until I don't have to increase anymore, but I think the increasing goes throughout the complete sleeve, so that means I will have to knit them 2 at a time the entire time, but I'm going to try to knit them 2 at a time as long as I can manage. But there will be color work in there, so then it will be 2 at a time with color work. That means 4 strands of yarn. That's asking for tanglement and stuff, but we will see. I think it will be fine. The reason I want to do that is because the pattern writes down the increases for a certain amount of centimeters instead of every certain amount of rows, and I really want them to be the same. So by knitting them at the same time, I am sure that I do the increases at the same time in the pattern. So that's why I'm going to try to do that. This needs to be the same length as the bottom ribbing. So I still have a few rows of ribbing to go, and then I can start the lice pattern. And yeah, I have to find my motivation again to work a little bit more on it. It's really funny because the body part of this sweater was going quite slow for a long time, and then suddenly I had the complete body piece, and I was thinking I will go through in the same spirit for the sleeves, but somehow that didn't really happen. Yeah, life, knitting, things happen. I will just have to accept it, and it will be fine. Okay, back to the structure. Is there ever structure? I don't think there is ever structure, but yeah, alright. So, another thing I have been working on, which is not knitting, but I want to show. I've shown it a long time. So I really need to back up my camera, because the same thing as last week happened again, that my storage is full and it just stops filming in the middle of everything. So I don't know where I have been, but I was talking about this. It's a really nice theme park. I like it a lot. They do make, I don't know if they still do, but they did make a really big cross stitch pattern, and I couldn't stay away from it. I have seen it a lot of times, and every time I was like, I want to have it, but I don't know if I can finish it. And then one time I was like, I will just take it with me and I will just see how far I will come. This is in my possession for, I think, a few years. I'm not quite sure how many years, but I think maybe 3 or 4 years. Not 4. I think 3 years. And it's a lot of stitches. I know you can't see, but like this piece over here has like over 400 stitches in there. So you can't see that, but that means that this is enormous, and when you see which picture it is going to be, you will say I'm crazy that I'm even make an attempt to finish this. But I'm just going to try it, and I started working on it again, and I really like doing it. So that's why I wanted to show you, and I will just sometimes pop it up so you can see my progress, which will be very little, but that doesn't really matter. It's just really fun to do. It's like my first real cross stitch I'm doing. Crazy. But I came to the conclusion that what I did over here is not very practical, because you can lose count quite easily when you are moving across the pattern like that, and just keeping it square and in boxes makes it more it's easier to overview. So that's what I'm going to do over here. I'm going to work more in boxes, and this happened because I was thinking, oh, but I'm needing this color over here, and yeah, it's not manageable that way. So I need to go more square, but I really like working on it. So I don't know if you like to see that, but I liked to show you. So that's just happening. This is my space, and if I want to show you, I'm just showing you. So that just happened. So let me see. I have something else to show you. Ooh. I have been to Amsterdam with my best friend, and of course I wanted to go to Stephen and Penelope because as I am living in Holland, I have never visited Stephen and Penelope. It's like, yeah, it's in Amsterdam. I'm not living in Amsterdam. It takes time to come there, but this time when I was there, I took the time to visit the shop, and it's a lovely shop. It's not big, but I think that suits the city. A lot of shops are like small and cozy, so that suits the city. A lot of beautiful, gorgeous hand-dyed yarns from different dyers, and I couldn't resist to take a skein, and this is the skein that came home with me. Let me see how to show the color the best. It's always hard to see on the screen because the screen has a different, like, shows colors different than my computer screen does, and always difficult with colors and screens and stuff. I'm not going to go into detail about that. This is a lovely skein by Garn Story, which is a German hand dyer, and I just fell in love with this skein. It's going to, so I think it will be perfect for a hat. I think I'm going to make this one again, only a little bit longer, just a smidge longer, and not in mohair and fingering weight yarn, but I'm going to hold this double, so that will transport the colors more throughout the head as well. So that will be really, really nice, I think. I've been waiting to cake it up just to show you how pretty it is in the skein. I really like it. So that's the thing. I'm in a bit of a hurry because I have been removing stuff and recording like 4 times now. So I don't want to do that a lot of times. Something else, I have been talking about those stitch markers I have been making, and I was promising them in the shop. I'm sorry if you have looked for it. They will go up this weekend. I'm just going to promise it. They will go up this weekend. I had an issue with my website. This fits just in a normal envelope and goes through your mailing slit. I don't know the English term, but it would be a shame to pay a lot of shipping costs for these. So I needed to make different shipping costs for different products, just a lot of website stuff. It works now, so the only thing I need to do is put them in there so you can take a pair if you want to. I really love working with these stitch markers. I know they have their limitation because you can't use them for crochet and you can't use them as a progress keeper, but they can also not damage your fabric, and they stay just between the stitches you want to when you're knitting, and that is what I really like out of stitch markers I use just for marking points in my row. So yeah, I really like them, and I have different colors, I have a lot of variations, and of course I will take those with me to the Blijdagen, the Dutch Knitting Festival as well. So you will see them there. And I think that's everything I need to talk about. Something I haven't shown you is the pair of socks for my oldest son. Yeah, he really loves them and they're dirty, and so I'm not going to show them, but he really likes them. Another thing I haven't shown is the pants I made. I made them, I finished them, I wore them. But then something tragic happened. The zipper that was over here split the wrong way. I don't know how to explain it. It's just it's just split it on the opposite side of the zipper when it wasn't supposed to. And it was so stuck that there was no movement possible, so we had to cut the zipper out. We were able to do that without harming the fabric, so I can just insert a new zipper and I can wear it again, and I really love wearing it, so that's really nice. And that's everything I have to talk about, I think. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you don't mind the fact that I'm in a hurry right now. I will see you in 2 weeks and have a lovely time in between. Bye!